Hello guys, so today we are in London town. Well, this is a side street of London, but we are in London. And the reason being is that I have come to see Swatchbox. Now, I wanted to start with a question. How does specifying finishes make you feel? Let's be honest, we get that first inquiry, it is all nice and exciting, can't wait to get started, but then when we actually have to start specifying things, it gets a bit panicky, doesn't it? A lot of stress. First you go into your sample room and there's a mess there. You can't find anything. Then you figure out that you need to go and find that rep's details. Who was doing those laminates? Who was doing the tiles? You frantically either look through your emails or you try to go to your team members and just like ask for help. Then it's just another thing that you need to follow up with. It's just a very stressful process. So with Swatchbox, those things are a lot more easier, mainstream, and bonus cherry on top, it is sustainable and environment friendly. So let's have a look inside and see what we've got.
Hello!
Hey!
Welcome! Come on in! So yeah, welcome to Swatchbox's offices. In a minute I'm going to take you down to the warehouse and we're going to show you some things down there. But I just wanted to talk about this building really. As you know, we're just a couple of minutes down the road from Old Street. And it was important for us to have the warehouse here in central London because we wanted to be, you know, right near the design community, because where we want a fast service in terms of sending out samples but also retrieving them. So yeah, excited to have you here today. So come on, I'll show you down into the warehouse.
So tell us about Swatchbox. What's going on? Why have you created Swatchbox? And why do we need to know about you really?
Yeah, so firstly, thanks for coming to visit today. Super excited to have you here. We created Swatchbox really, obviously we're a team of architects, so we knew some of the issues that designers faced with sampling. And so when you think about why we created Swatchbox, you can start to think about some of the issues that designers face with samples. First and foremost, the amount of time that it takes an architect or an interior designer to go around the internet and order samples. You know, you've got all of these different types of websites, different forms. Manufacturers have different processes. Sometimes you can click a few buttons, other times you have to speak to a rep or whatever it might be. But we realised that there was a convenience factor in terms of the speed of being able to order something. So there's the speed of being able to order samples. Then the next issue is really around reliability. Obviously, if you're ordering multiple samples from various brands, some of them are great. They turn up the next day, or I even spoke to a manufacturer last week who said we'd try and do same day in London, which is fantastic. Like, speed is important because obviously there's client meetings on the line, deadlines and things like this. But ultimately, you'll order some samples, some of them will turn up quickly, sometimes they turn up late, and then other times, unfortunately, they don't turn up at all, which we experienced when we were doing our research. So the second issue is really about reliability. The third issue that designers face, and what we found, is really to do with space and kind of waste management, right? They're receiving all of these parcels every single week, and it's a lot. And ultimately, there's no real way of, obviously these material libraries are gathering up, and there's usually like a process of cleaning up those material libraries.
Yep, get the skip in at the end of a year, and let's just get rid of it, and what we don't use, and that kind of thing. So much waste. So much waste,
exactly. So this is really coming at it from an angle of the waste building up in the practice itself and at the architecture firm. So when we speak to architects and interior designers and we speak to them about waste, they're like, it's a huge issue, we need help with that. The fourth thing they struggle with is about management really. So it's around how do we actually manage our library. Right now there's no sophisticated way of doing that, so we know there's some issues there. And the final issue really is just about the whole construction industry as a whole. 32% of all landfill waste comes from the construction industry.
It is insane. It is crazy to think how much. Sometimes I feel like I shouldn't even be a designer and work in this industry because we just contribute so much to the waste.
There's such a big waste issue that the construction industry produces, and obviously samples are needed and an important part of the process, but when we're getting skips and sending them to landfill and so on and so forth, there's a huge sustainability issue here. So again, just going back to some of the conversations that we've had, this is another factor where it's like, look, we recognise that we have to stop sending things to landfill, and this is a potential avenues. So again, we knew all of these issues existed, and so what we set out to do was create a solution which is, you know, part technology, part warehouse, part a service for designers that help them really get smarter when it comes to samples, really.
Yeah.
That's what we're here to do.
And it saves time, it saves us headaches. Like I was just talking about in the intro, how stressful it can be. Like you get all excited about this new project and new scheme that you're going to create, and then you are hectically running around the office trying to chase down those rep details. Who was that guy that you talked to, and who did we see that day? And it just becomes like another thing on your to-do list, another person to chase up, just another headache, another inconvenience. So when I found out about you guys when we spoke at Clerkenwell, I was just thinking, yep, boxes tick, 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 and sustainable at the end of the day. So I'm super, super excited to like see how you guys can help the industry.
Yeah.
So if we are now, okay, like people are saying, right, I want Swatchbox samples, I want to go and order. What do we do? What's the process?
So how Swatchbox works is you can visit swatchbox.com, or you can...
That's on the laptop.
Yeah, that's on the laptop.
On the webs.
Yeah, on the webs. You can visit swatchbox.com, or you can download one of our free-to-use mobile apps, which you can find on the App Store. It's all completely free for designers. And essentially how it works is you'll go onto the website or app, you'll be able to browse thousands of different samples from various different suppliers, and literally with a few clicks of a button you can start adding samples to your basket essentially. What we find on average, you know, a designer will typically select 3 or 4 brands that goes into one box, and what we then do is we go and pack those samples, you know, that can range from brick samples to carpet and all kinds of different things, paints we've got here. We'll put them in one box, we'll send that out on a next day shipment, so that's kind of ticking that box in terms of speed and reliability. But the kind of jaw-dropping moment for the designers when we talk about this is the fact that when they open the box, they can pick and choose what they want. They can have the client meeting. They can even decide to send a box to a client, for example. When they're done with those samples, they can put them back into the box, scan the QR code that is actually on the box, and that will then produce a return label. They can go and then put that into one of their, you know, InPost lockers or Tesco's or anything like that, and send it back to us free of charge, and then we can put that back onto the shelves for another designer to then go order.
Yes, it makes sense. It makes so much sense. I just think the amount of waste we could reduce straight away. Not even leaving our office. We don't even need to do anything. Just pull out the phone, scan the code, and send it away. Amazing. How has that been received so far? Are you getting a lot of kind of returns? Like, I know maybe sometimes it's not the best word to hear, are you getting returns, but actually in this scenario it's exactly. Probably one of the best.
Exactly, yeah. So we are receiving returns, and what's interesting about our business now is that when we speak to designers about just recycling in general, we're finding that there's a two-part process that's going on. Right now they've got an issue of like they need to get rid of some waste. So we're actually doing some just like recycling services for designers now. That's interesting because they're realizing that actually what we can do now is we can get our material library into shape working with Swatchbox, and they can take some of our old samples that we have, what wasn't ordered via our platform, clean up that material library. All of that old sample can then potentially go back into stock here in the warehouse. But then moving forward, we can then start to use this more efficient way, more kind of streamlined way of ordering samples when we need them for the project, knowing they'll turn up on time, and then sending them back as we go. So it's let's do the clear out, and then moving forward, let's actually use a more tidier way of ordering samples.
It's a long-term commitment, and I think it's a commitment that our industry is well overdue. Should we go and have a little sneak peek into the behind the scenes?
Yeah, sure, yeah. Cool. Cool, so here we are down one of our aisles, and as you can see there's lots of samples here. Over here we've got some bricks from Van der Sanden, and then over here literally on the opposite aisle we've got carpet tiles from Interface. So this is actually a specific range that they have with us called the Resi-Mercial, and it's an important point because when we think about the manufacturers, we're not trying to replace their whole entire sample program if they don't want us to. They partnered with us because they want to provide a second, more sustainable avenue for these particular products. And that's just the point really about the manufacturers. You know, they also face issues with when it comes to samples. Some manufacturers love doing it themselves, but also other manufacturers, you know, when we come to them and say we can do all of their sample distribution, you know, literally we had a manufacturer say, "You're a knight in shining armour," because they did not want to do it. So it's really up to what the manufacturer, how they want to use us. But these are just some of the ways that these two suppliers are using us.
Right, Anthony, what we're doing?
We're on our way to Surface Matter showroom to go look at some materials, some interesting materials. Some of them are made out of recycled plastic and things like this. So
yeah,
it'd be interesting.
Gonna talk about sustainability. It's a big. Oh, we're gonna make a right turn. Yeah, just chat about sustainability. It's a very big issue or big topic at the moment. So, and I've actually specified them before for one of the sustainability driven projects. So it's going to be actually really nice to see them in person. Let's go then.
But it encompasses like an life cycle analysis.
Okay.
So if
this UK specific?
No, this is worldwide.
Okay, right.
Legislation isn't really driving it right now. It's sort of third-party sort of schemes like LEED. LEED is kind of the one of the latest versions. Like they use the EPD as sort of almost like the foundation.
Yeah.
So it would enable you to get sort of the points that you need to achieve a particular standard.
Hello guys, welcome back. It is obviously a few weeks later. As you can see maybe in some of the latest clips in the video, I was absolutely knackered by the end of the day, and we had a lovely catch up after all the filming was done, and I didn't want to and didn't capture any of it. It was just behind the scenes, you know, relationship building kind of thing. But by the time I actually got on the train, I realized that I've not filmed this outro. So let's get into it. I actually have a box with me. Hey! I just ordered some samples that I want to use for like the project that will be coming up next year, and I will be featuring them on this channel as well. So, and I filmed some content for them as well. All of it comes in a lovely paper packaging, no plastic, and you can obviously recycle that when you send it back, or even keep it and store your own things in it, which is a win-win. So I got a few samples here. There's some carpet samples, some paint samples. I love these the most. Look at this. How cool are they? These are like cord samples. Amazing. I didn't even know that they did these. I found them on the website. I was like, oh yes, having some. And then I got some tile samples as well. Beautiful chunky things. So if you want to see any of this content, go over to my Instagram. What we need to do now, us as a collective, we need to go to our suppliers and ask them to feature their products, their samples on Swatchbox's library. They will do all the hard work. Let them figure out the behind the scenes and who does what and how does that gonna happen. But if you, an individual or as a company, approach your suppliers and ask them, could they feature their products on Swatchbox's library, and by doing so that will help you in all of these ways, then the platform will grow with time and is going to be such a useful tool for all of us. And there are a lot more locations going to be added throughout the years and the next year and the following. So we need to support these guys a little bit. And the reason why I am so kind of enthusiastic about this is that I've seen it all. I've seen the waste, I've seen the stress,
and I just feel like this could be such an amazing tool for us in the future to really get this industry going and moving with the times. Sorry if I'm sounding a little bit bunged up. That's because I am. But things had to be done. I had to film this and get this beautiful content out. I really hope you enjoyed this little collaboration. It's been so much fun, and I really hope to do more content with Swatchbox later on in the future. Like I said, I love the mission, I love what they're about, and they're just lovely people who actually believe in my own vision as well, and that has been very, very heartwarming to kind of receive on my end. Okay guys, that's it for today. The whole of December is going to be Vlogmas. Now, I'm not doing Vlogmas the usual upload every kind of day, but all weekly videos are going to be vlogs in December. That is the one way how I can manage it this year. Who knows, maybe next year I can give you daily vlogs. We'll hold out for that, and obviously lots more new content coming in the new year, more about specification. I would love to work with more suppliers and show behind the scenes of that. So if you're a supplier and watching this video, drop me a message, let's work together, let's show the world what your product is about and educate designers along the way. Okay, that is it from me. I love you, leave you, and I'll see you in the next video.